We're going to launch something of an attempt to make this brief, to the point, direct, and I guess to an extent thorough. Now, I've been disillusioned with the state of romances for quite some time now. I've had many comments and supposed subscribers join this channel because they are disillusioned with how things are romantically as well. And sometimes you watch so many videos of a person complaining about the same issue. You say, "Oh, this is redundant. This is ridiculous." But the same repetition could come and benefit any other circumstance. We say, "Well, to VVS." Um, what I wanted to really just make sure hits home in the course of this stream is debunking, destroying, and completely annihilating the claim that you can make someone like you. Now, if you're going to go on a lot of these dating advice videos, they're going to tell you step one of how to get women, step two of how to get women. Wear this, walk over here, speak in this form of manner. And I'm someone who's a veteran of watching those videos. I've sat there for I don't know how many hours and just gone and discussed these topics with other people, tried to implement them. We both came back after a week or so of seeing no difference in the results we were getting and concluded it didn't work. Those pickup artists are all scams, pretty much. Well, the scams end here today. LOL, interesting topic, says Envoy, who I should probably refer to by his full name by now, but I'm not. I'm tired. Um, and look, I want to also preface this by saying this is in no way me making the claim that I am so strong as far as my resistance to the urge of being dissatisfied with romances. I am one who gets sad when I see certain couples, around my age, whatever, holding hands, um, and engaging in just regular loving activities. And that's a feeling I'm probably always going to have. But I can try my best to suppress it. I can try to worry about these things that I do, go after and pursue. I'm not saying that's a worthy substitute of having an actual person in your life. What I'm saying to you is that too often I've seen people of value, particularly males, um, think something is wrong with them, be told something is wrong with them, over the fact that a woman is not spreading their legs to a guy in particular, whoever it may be in any given circumstance. I've seen guys who physically they're in shape. Everyone has their own opinions of what the ideal face is, but they make the basic just not supposed levels of undesirability. For example, I as a person theoretically fit many of those stereotypical aspects. I am what one would consider in shape. I'm 6'2". There's just various things that people like to claim are part of the stereotypical attraction parameters. But you've had a lot of people who don't have those two traits and will say, well, because I'm not those two things, I'm never going to get with anyone. But I have news for you. Even if you're not those two things, or even if you are those, you still run into the roadblocks of a society where the options and egos of many modern females has been inflated to such a ridiculous level, to where it makes it really impossible for a large plethora of males to get anywhere with them. One of these days, I'm going to embark on something of an experiment where I just go and screenshot and cut the names out, obviously, of all of these different times I've tried to initiate not even something romantic. You just try to talk to one of these women of the current era, and how many times you've been rebuffed and just shoved out in the door, and you start thinking to yourself, maybe this could go right, and it completely reversed itself on you. That's a feeling I'm sure a lot of us have had, and also with a lot of the males that are here. Ask yourself this: if something is truly wrong with you, and oh, you're the one who needs to change, why do you have so many guys who are in this circumstance that we're in? And a lot of people will lose their mind over this. A lot of people will say, man, I'm tired of living, forget the whole world. And I know what it's like to be depressed over that circumstance, especially to see women who, don't pay a lot of these guys any more attention than they do the tree outside, be able to just get loads of dudes. But that's something you and I have no impact on other than just not partaking in the same activity. Now, is that saying completely dismiss, um, you know, relationships altogether, or act as if no romance could happen at any point in your life? No, but it is to suggest that you cannot force someone to become interested in you. You cannot adapt so much and actually retain who you are, and expect this person to just do a 360, go from ignoring you to just treating you well. Ask yourself in your lifetime how many women that weren't members of your family paid you serious attention. Ask yourself that. I can only think of maybe one, two, and with both of those, I asked them out. I approached them, rather, one approached me, and I gave her as much attention as I could. She gave me a very, I think, even double of what I offered, only to be told by her that she found it more attractive when I did not speak to her as often, and that was truly the way to arouse her, to be less involved, to be distant, to be completely resolved of even interacting with her for a good chunk of the time. And when I heard that, it almost felt like I was in some kind of Bizarro world. You know, Bizarro from the Superman villain that looks like Superman. That's exactly what came to mind when she started speaking that way. I thought to myself, what person of rationale, of logic, of just common sense would even think to themselves, I am more attracted when you treat me in a manner that is awful. But then you look at the Jeremy Meeks case, and it makes perfect sense. You look at the fact that you have so many of these women of the present era who have these children with these guys that, for whatever thing happens, decide to stop being with them romantically, and you have all these single mothers. And this is a circumstance that a lot of people such as myself look at and we're rebuffed by, not because we assume the guy should have done more, but because we know if we were in the same circumstance, we would prefer to just be in a committed relationship with that person and then move to something sexual. It really isn't hard when two people decide for themselves, I am going to make this be how things are now. If a woman says, you know what, forget going online and having random dudes say I look cute. Bubble that we're living in now, all these males are frustrated with how things are going, including me, could have been solved in minutes. There are many strange people that messed up that have messed up attractions about personalities. Yeah, I agree with that. Um, the other part of this I want to insist on is that a lot of times people will ask you, what do you, or rather, there's a lot of myths that are put out there. One of them is that your lack of confidence. Well, it took some confidence, whether my detractors will admit it or not, to come out and say I am not successful in this endeavor. It took some level of confidence to try and engage these people when they came and told me that I was a million and one ways false for having an opinion that was diametrically opposed to theirs. So I'm sorry, I'm lacking in some things, but confidence isn't one of them. Now, another claim people will make is that your bank account or something to that effect. And look, any woman who wants you just because of the amount of cash, uh, I'm needless to say, can be classified as a gold digger. Now, no, I'm not saying, oh, let's get with everyone who's is just completely impoverished, but we're acting as if there are not large numbers of African Americans who are below the middle class, and as if the women that are partaking in that aren't knowingly aware that the guy they're with isn't, on Wall Street. So again, that's another falsehood that's being spread around. A year ago, I finally got. She had. Yep. A late bloomer. Get out of here with that. Guys need confidence, but girls don't. Well, also the other thing is a lot of these women, it's because of their own lack of confidence it doesn't work out. Remember, you have the one that kept telling me it won't work, it won't work, it won't work, it won't work. Out of the four that approached me last year, I had three of them saying it wouldn't work. Didn't even try. Didn't attempt to meet me. One just spoke by the phone. Said, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. But listen, I'm not making this as some attempt to bemoan or degrade or bash the women of the current era entirely. There are some that are able to escape this. That's how relationships that actually last are still being composed, even if it's in smaller ounces and little increments. What I am suggesting to you is that I am more sick and tired of the fact that I've known many a men in my life who are worth a damn that have shown disillusion, discomfort, dissatisfaction with who they were because they weren't quote unquote uh, attractive to the eyes of females. I didn't like that because I actually cared about these males. They were nice to talk to, and I felt actually contributed to society with just the way they were. So seeing them spoken about so negatively as any term you might throw out there repulsed me because I don't enjoy people I consider my friends being subject to something that's undesirable, even if it's the same thing I am experiencing personally. Even if it's on the lower scale than what's currently here. They don't have accounts where they're talking about this with any consistency. I do. Now that day has come, Seven. Let me say hello to him. And I guess what ultimately causes me to get the most frustrated is that when you sit there and you see the relationships and how failed they are of the current era, high divorce rates, high rates of people never even getting married, and you have these individuals who tell you this is something to latch on to. You are the problem, and you see all these children born out of wedlock who are more likely to experience hardships in life than anything you would have ever put in place. I'm sorry, but for anyone who's arguing um, that the males of today who sit here, who actively are concerned and bothered by the fact that they cannot get a relationship with one woman and be with that person and be committed, that they're the beta males of society of the current era, whereas you have people right now who are spawning all these children who are put worse off by their parents than anything else, are running with the same logic that Adolf Hitler had when he thought he could control the entire world. That's the logic you're working on with. And I know a lot of the people who are going to bash me and my fellow commenters who understand what I'm saying likely won't even know what the analogy I made was. They'll know that name, but they won't know the end means. Because see, when people have logic and they're going over there and trying to talk things out, they don't sit there online in some puppet account hiding their picture to start telling you that you're a bad person because you couldn't do something that loads and loads of other people couldn't do either. They don't do that. If someone truthfully was bothered by, did you get, hey, we're not even talking about that me, z. If people are truly bothered by what I have to say, they will go and refute this and say, oh, wait, that's not true because of this fact, this fact. No, that you don't see that because what I'm saying is true. The current relationship model of the present era is a failure. And the guys who aren't getting in these failed relationships are being called failures by, ironically enough, people online claiming to be part of that group that is supposedly succeeding. But if they're truly succeeding, male or female, then why do they feel a need to pay attention to us? Let me see if I respond to what was said here. Say hello to Euro. Hello to Dominique. Everyone in my class comes from a divorced family. Exactly, O'Donoghue. And they tell you that you're you're the reason for the continued bitterness of males. People are tired of their own personal experiences screwing them over. I guarantee you that most of the people sitting in here likely have gone through not one, not two, not three, but multiple women who they gave attention to, who they tried with, who they sat here and read all these articles and videos about, and were completely ignored by them, or were for the most part pushed aside. I didn't have anything to do with that. I just know how they're feeling because I've personally gone through it. And maybe I'm able to enunciate, that articulate those feelings. But, the sad truth that a lot of people that call themselves defending women um, don't want to realize and recognize is that the current state of males who are tired of the ongoing circumstance that we're living in have only come to that the decision and opinion as a result of the females they have tried to approach. And all the people saying you're approaching the wrong ones. How do you know who he's approaching? How do you know who I'm approaching? Suddenly when people don't like what you're saying, even if it's fact based, like the stuff I bring up with the, illegitimate children and also the divorce rates, they are trying to make it to where they go from, oh, forget your facts. Let's make a window into your soul. Let's tell you who you've gone after and who you've approached and what you've been through and what you've experienced. And that's when you know the conversation is lost. I've had commenters who've come in that comment section and they've sat here and tried to say something. I respond back to them, and they just go and repeat platitudes. Bitter man, beta male. How about this might be a problem? This might be a problem. And look, a lot of people are actually saying, "Don't stop talking about it. If you stop talking about it, this don't speak about it because if you don't speak about it, then it will suddenly become better." But I have news for you. I've been on YouTube for 9 years. Guess how many of those I actually started speaking about romances? 3. So what does that tell you? In the 6 before, even with not talking about it, it didn't get any different. Best stream in a while. Yeah. What is a guide to do this day and age regarding women? Make it fester even more in your heart. Exactly. And look, here's the thing you have to also get. Nobody else no other issue would ever be told you would be told to keep quiet about it. If I were a student who was bothered by what I felt was discrimination of, my school because of my ethnicity, I would have the NAACP give me a reward. I'd have Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson clapping hands. Oh, good job. He's fighting the machine. If I complained about the lack of patience to climate change, I would have many, liberals come out and say, "Good job, man. You showed them 1-4." If I said, "You know what? We need to just keep guns the way that they are, and make sure that gun control doesn't pass," I would have Republicans saying, "Good job, man. It is only this issue," which there is this bipartisan attempt by both genders to try and make you feel horrible because you had an opinion. It is only this. Out of every, you could put every single issue, domestic or foreign. It is just this that causes both sides to go, "Well, maybe it's because of the way you speak." No. Someone speak up, get offended. Yeah, and look, the other thing is that a lot of the women who are claiming to be so bothered by this, they have this strange wanting to be associated with people they don't know. I've had people who have never known the women I've spoken about directly in the videos decide to say, "Well, she might have been feeling this way because of this." You don't know her. And you're going off of a guy who also, you don't know. You're watching an 18-minute video out of a 24-hour day. But this is now, again, your window into my soul. You can tell me my personality. You can tell me my views. Everything you know about me now because you saw a video. Would be super depressed. They stepped in my shoes. Exactly. And think about this. These not personal, but do you have when you would like to? Hey, whenever I can. There's my answer to that envoy. I would do it tomorrow if I could. I don't even know what at this point. Who else is leaving a comment? People want you to suffer, and so where is it? Okay, I don't see any more. Yeah, I'm fluid. Look, I've been willing and ready to do most of the things I want to do, just for as long as I want to do them. People have this thing about, "Oh, I'll get married when I'm 30." Forget that. Whenever you want to, let's do it. I don't know what this, and that's another thing. People have this live in the moment mentality. "Oh, just wait until next year. Just wait until the year after that. Just wait until 5 years from now. Just wait until 10 years from now." How do you know you're even going to be around for that time? I don't know. You know, in a world where people are getting blown to pieces, with different weaponry, whether it's a shooting over here or an airstrike in Syria or Libya. You're going to tell me about how in 10 years you're willing to settle down by then. In 20 years you're willing to do everything I want by then. Forget that. Who wants to wait a tenth of a century trying to get one of them to like you? Be crushed by that. Dirk, I get that, but you have to understand, in anything you do in life that is worth anything long term, you take a chance. Prepare yourself. You may get married at 40. No, by 40, I would just quit. I think social media plays a part. Yeah, I said that earlier in the stream, O'Donoghue. Could run over by a bus tomorrow. Exactly. You don't know what's going to happen. And then when you say things like that, you're being suicidal. No, you're not being suicidal. You're being realistic. The game's nasty. And I hope more of you realize, I hope more of you recognize it. And the people who are trying to make you feel bad don't know what it's like. They don't have that feeling of missing out on something. They don't have someone telling them, don't say anything about it. Because they're allowed to express themselves. And you're not. And that's the problem. When you have an issue, you address it. You don't brush under the rug. That's part of the reason this channel exists. We talk about things that actually happen. That's why you don't have me saying the Democrats look at the Republicans, so they both suck. Because they're both doing the same thing. No, this is a wake up. That's what this stream is getting interrupted by, a wake up call. No, we don't play strings and streamers over here. This is not on the side of either gender. I've gone after both sides for doing things. Both political parties, both positions on certain issues. I don't have a perfect. Look, the thing is, people aren't willing to compromise anymore. Also, why do you think you go on all these dating websites and the women have more requirements than wanted for the hostages in the Iran hostage crisis? Why do you think that? Because they don't believe in anything but the best. And if you are a guy with that mentality, you'll get told to lower your standards to the point of oblivion. And they want you to pretend that's not going on. Don't go on the dating websites. Go in person. You go in person. Can I have your number? No. 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 You go on the dating websites. Hey, my name is da 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 da. You're nothing back. Hey, my name is da da da. Hear nothing back. Hey, my name is da da da. Hear nothing back. You go on hey, then you finally get a response. Hey, my name is oh, how are you doing? Oh, good. And then, well, I don't want a romantic relationship with you, even though we spoke for 3 days. No, thank you. We're not doing that one. And I think it's more of not what people think. People who don't impact their life pan out because of shallow, superficial nature. Man, it's more than just their nature. It is the era you live in. It is the people you're surrounded by as a result of the World Wide Web, where anyone can see anything. And the only thing I've done with this channel and talking about these things, because I know and have been made aware of the fact that there are multiple loads and loads of dudes who are bothered by the current circumstances that we face today when it comes to trying to court members of the opposite sex. And when you know there's loads and loads of you, you start becoming convinced. Maybe it's not me who's the problem. But please do not, just as I said earlier, I'm warning you, do not convince yourself, oh, it's because she doesn't like me. You can't make someone like you. And look, if you talk to 500 women and they all are saying, oh, I don't want to speak to you because I'm with this guy, or, this, that, and the other, what could you have done? Man, I don't have unrealistic standards. I've met plenty that I was fine with. And they either showed no interest back, they wouldn't answer their phone half the time. What else can you do? Other than say, all right, forget it and move on. Because if you stay with one, you're called obsessed. I don't talk in absolutes. There's a problem with both sides. But yeah, I'm tired of it. And I know that I won't get the same 22 people that are in here to go and actually check out the political stuff I have planned later on. But oh well, I tried. So, bottom line is that if you sit here and you convince yourself, oh, if I just go and try to act the way that these websites tell me, and if I just go in person, things will be better, and if I just go online, things will be better. Recognize that you cannot control the behavior of others, and that includes the women you approach, the males that rebuke you after you've been turned down and you say, I'm tired of this. You can't change it. You can change how you react to it. I'll tell you something else. There's been a lull that I've realized a lot of people who've come on here, when they start seeing that political stuff, they get silent because they can't act as the aficionado on that. They can't say they know more about me than that. Once they see me in my natural zone, my highlight zone, the area of my expertise, it's silence. Because it is much easier to argue with anecdotes than it is with facts. I'm going to do a stream within the next, if it's not tonight, then definitely tomorrow, about why I think every single president after George H.W. Bush is either mediocre or poor. And I'll make every single argument make sense, backed with fact, and probably not refuted by a single person who participates in the stream. And you won't see that group that likes to come on here and say, well, it has to be a lack of confidence. It has to be a lack of something we can't see. It has to be something we don't know. It has to be a thing that we can't tell. There won't be that. They won't know. They will listen, when you go from talking about this stuff where people will sit there and complain about the way you speak, it will look, if I go from talking about this to something political, that the number of people in the stream right now is going to decrease by maybe 50%, and then sit here and probably not say anything during the rest of that thing. I guarantee you. It's like I need to look not only to try to flex some hype, status, argument is so invalid. It was a lack of confidence. He didn't believe in himself. I'm tired of hearing that song. I think a lot of you are too. So we're going to get that stream on why the older Bush was better than all of his predecessors. I didn't rehearse anything. That's all off the cuff, believe it or not. Well, it's not about knowing as much as me. I mean, people can ask questions and try to gauge me on what something is. That's why we do the live stream, so you can interact, and it's like our own little virtual class. It is very disquieting to the heart of many detractors that you will see on this channel and on any other channel that discusses this issue, when I go over something political. And I'm bringing it up here because I know that a good chunk of the people who see this after the stream is over are not going to actually comment, or are not actually going to see the whole thing through. So I know when I start speaking politically, they're going to go, oh. And then a lot of them will say, see, that shows that, you have this ego. But I thought I had a lack of confidence. Which one is it? Which one is it? You either big ego, because I think I'm smarter than everybody else, which I actually don't, or lack of confidence. Truthfully, if I thought I was smarter than everyone else, I wouldn't even be talking about this stuff, because I would just become convinced, well, no one's going to know about this anyway. Yeah, Donnie, that's only touching the surface of it. I will go into my problems with every single one of his successors and make the argument for why he was better than all of them. You might even say put together. But yeah, He's definitely, well, whatever. So we'll go into that afterward. I hope the stream was enjoyable. I'm sick of how things are. A lot of you are. I'm just tired of seeing decent guys become so incensed by the circumstances of their own life because some woman turned them down. Give me a break. And look, I know it hurts. It's hurt me. But there's more to life than being treated poorly uh, by people that are not privy to everything about you. So we're gonna do this stream right after. Thank you for watching. I know a lot of you are gonna go to bed now or go do something else because it's politics. So yeah, I'll see you later.